Hi everyone, this is Dawn Montgomery at CASAS, and welcome to the workshop on how to implement CASAS eTest online. Today's workshop is an overview presentation on implementing CASAS eTests online together with TOPS Pro Enterprise Online. This is the first workshop in a set of 23 complementary CASAS online implementation workshops. You are not required to attend all 23 workshops. However, we highly recommend attending as many as possible to learn about best practices, ask questions, and to become confident in using the online system. So I hope everyone is doing well today, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us for this workshop. If anyone is having trouble hearing me or you would like to ask for clarification or for me to repeat any information that I am discussing, please feel free to use the chat box to ask any questions along the way. I will be monitoring the chat box, and I don't see questions or interruptions as interruptions. I see them as opportunities to bring clarification to the information that we are sharing in today's workshop. Okay. The remainder of the workshops in this set are listed and available for registration on the CASAS website. Also, I just want to add that when you entered into this meeting room through the Citrix online system, Citrix has its own registration system, so you will be receiving an automated email from Citrix that indicates you are required to attend all 23 workshops. And as I mentioned a moment ago, that as far as CASAS is concerned, you are not required to attend all 23. It's just the registration system of the Citrix online giving you that information. So I hope that is clear to everyone. So here on our website, please feel free to join as many workshops as possible. Also on our website, online help documentation is available under Training and Support, eTests help documentation, as well as TOPS Pro Enterprise help documentation. You will want to be sure and bookmark these as your electronic go-to resources, particularly the CASAS eTest online guide, which is found in eTest help documentation. It is the first link presented on that web page, CASAS eTest online guide. Here is a copy of the workshop listing, the sets of workshops, if you would like to share this with other staff at your agency. This is a copy of the CASAS eTest online guide. It is over 200 pages. In fact, it's 230 pages to be exact. So you may not necessarily want to print this, as we tend to update material throughout the program year. This guide was produced for our last year's National Summer Institute. We do have a National Summer Institute scheduled this year that we invite you to attend. You can register and find out more information on our website, as well as register by going to Training and Support National Summer Institute. The dates for that, let's see, are June 23rd through 25th. Okay, so we invite you to come and network with others and learn about the online application. We will be having hands-on labs as well as many workshops that are informative for all types of programs and all types of agencies and funding. Okay. A copy of today's presentation is also available on our website under Training and Support, e-test help documentation, getting started, and CASAS online system overview. This is the presentation that I will share during this workshop. Okay, hopefully that is displaying well for everyone on your screens. Whether you are new to CASAS or have been using CASAS for a while, you may have implemented CASAS or been introduced to CASAS assessments paper-based or through the local installation computer-based testing. Today's workshop focuses on web-based testing. Agencies can implement a hybrid assessment delivery with web-based, computer-based, and paper-based combined, all with using our online system to enter results for complete reports. A simple 4-point agenda applies to everyone involved with CASAS implementation. There are 4 basic steps to using CASAS Online, as well as 4 steps to implement CASAS Online. And we will also look at some resources. CASAS Online is a fully integrated system with testing, automated scoring, recording, and reporting student, class, program, and agency outcomes. Agencies that administer paper-based tests can also benefit with using TOPS Pro Enterprise Online to scan or hand-enter test data. CASAS will assist agencies with migrating existing data to the online system to help you prepare for testing current students, as well as set up and structure your online agency with regards to site locations and classes and so forth. Whoop. I think I went a little bit too far here. Here are some benefits to using the CASAS Online system, specifically CASAS e-tests, as well as TOPS Pro Enterprise. Folks, the CASAS e-test and TOPS Pro Enterprise is one complete online system that shares a database, or there is a database shared between both applications. The benefit of that is synchronized real-time data. Testing can be occurring across town, and from the convenience of your office, you can view the progress of testing at that site location, as well as view the students actively testing, as well as generating reports as soon as students complete their tests. The online system is very flexible. And as you see listed here, the online system offers multiple series and modalities. There is a registration component, so you could use the CASAS e-test online user interface as a registration system. There are practice tests available, and I will demonstrate a practice test during today's demonstration. Streamline testing by combining the appraisal and pre-test in one process. There are accommodation features that I will point out. We recommend automated timing. The system is fully automated for scoring and recording. As I mentioned earlier, you have the opportunity to retrieve immediate results. The next appropriate test is automatically assigned by the online system so that you do not need to worry about a great deal of time invested to prepare for post-testing. You have the assurance that when students sign in with their pre-existing ID or an ID that exists in the online system, that the system will automatically present to them the next appropriate test based on their prior test history. And you will notice when I demonstrate that there are no indicators such as A, B, C, and D on the distractors or the answer choices. And this is to discourage cheating, to discourage sharing of answers among students. TOPS Pro Enterprise is the data management side of the online system. It is used directly with CASAS eTest Online, again for automated scoring and recording. So if you have been a CASAS online, or excuse me, a CASAS user, such as paper-based testing, and you would like to enter the results of students' last test that was taken paper-based to prepare the online system for web-based testing, you have the option to either scan in that information directly into TOPS Pro Enterprise Online, hand enter that information directly into TOPS Pro Enterprise Online, or we can assist you with completing an Excel template that is converted into an import file to import several records at the same time, which saves the time from scanning as well as hand entering. The online system does have the capability of importing and exporting data between what we call third-party systems. Third-party systems are generally external registration and attendance systems. So depending on the system that you use, you may want to inquire whether there is this electronic handshake between the two systems. That's a tremendous time-saving benefit to you at the local agency. And if you would like more information about that, my contact information is included in this workshop presentation. I'll show some sample reports, and I think that's, and then the system is fully capable of NRS compliance. And we have a contract with California, and so the system is used as an accountability system. So if you are using CASAS assessments that you are required to report student and program outcomes, then the TOPS Pro Enterprise Online system will do that for you. There are 4 basic steps when using CASAS eTest Online: registering computers, creating sessions, managing sessions, and administering tests. Computers must be registered to administer a test, and registering computers is a one-time task per machine. Only registered testing stations are recognized by the online system to deliver CASAS web-based tests. Computer registration requires 2 certified individuals, either 2 coordinators, 2 proctors, or 1 of each, to validate the registration of each machine to use for testing. Coordinators may unregister a testing station at any time through the CASAS eTest Application Management Console, provided the machine is not assigned to a testing station or the machine is not in active use. Creating sessions is also a one-time task, just as registering computers. Now, looking at these 4 steps, let's simplify the implementation process by drawing a line between steps 2 and 3. To emphasize that once steps 1 and 2 are completed, they essentially do not need to be repeated, and all that remains is repeating steps 3 and 4 whenever testing is needed. As I mentioned, registering computers is a one-time step that takes less than a minute per machine. Creating sessions can also be done a one-time step when sessions are reused whenever testing is needed. Now let's take a closer look at these steps. Registering computers and creating sessions is performed by a certified coordinator. Managing sessions and administering tests is performed by a certified proctor. Folks, these roles are not much different from ones already filled at your agency, such as registering computers essentially maintains your test inventory. Creating sessions is simply standardizing testing or using standardized testing, or actually, to be more specific, to specify what gets delivered and how it gets delivered to students, essentially following testing guidelines. Managing sessions involves the proctor starting and stopping testing sessions, as well as managing the session, such as suspending a test, aborting a test, and so forth, or moving administration of a test from one computer to another computer if there happens to be any problems on the current testing station. And administering tests is simply the same. The individual proctor's assessment, much the same as proctoring paper-based testing, where the proctor quietly circulates around the room for observation, as well as an added benefit of the proctor viewing a session activity window to monitor how test takers are progressing through the assessment process. Now, folks, before test takers sit down at a computer to take a test, you must define the testing scenario, and this is by defining settings. So prior to administering tests at your agency or site location, we will work with you to determine your best use of assessments so that test takers select a test based on the options and settings you predefine. Now, just as I mentioned, 4 steps to using CASAS eTests online, there are equally 4 steps to implementing CASAS eTests online, such as preparing your systems, your facility, preparing your staff, and your inventory. Now let's take a closer look at each of these steps. Preparing systems. Involves determining or the determination of meeting minimum system requirements. Actually, forgive me, folks, let me just reference here. There is an online site agreement that each agency intending to implement the online system must submit. We offer the online site agreement in an online self-paced training module so that you have the opportunity to submit in an electronic fashion the name of your agency, to identify your agency and any site locations at which you plan to administer CASAS web-based assessments. So the online site agreement is what outlines the minimum requirements that a site must comply to use CASAS eTests online, and each site is authorized to administer CASAS web-based tests under the direction of a certified coordinator. And adhering to these requirements is vital for assuring the validity of CASAS tests. Preparing the facility, actually I've kind of jumped to that, is the online site agreement. The individual and the online site agreement module, and one individual or a representative of your agency only one individual as a representative of your agency needs to complete the online site agreement. And in that online site agreement, as I mentioned, will go through the minimum hardware checks, talk about the Microsoft requirements, system requirements, as well as emphasize the importance of synchronizing your computer clocks with an internet time server. So preparing the facility does just that, and you will be given all of the information necessary in the online site agreement training module. Preparing your staff, just like the online site agreement, preparing staff, CASAS also offers complimentary coordinator and proctor certification training modules. The coordinator and proctor certification modules, well, let me talk specifically about the coordinator. That coordinators serve an important role to ensure that testing occurs fairly and uniformly. Certified coordinators manage site locations that use CASAS e-tests online. Now, it is not a requirement that a coordinator be present on site for every test administration, but it is required that there is a coordinator who oversees test administration at a site or several sites. The online self-paced training module for coordinator certification outlines the duties and responsibilities of a coordinator, testing code of ethics, and the importance of test security. Coordinators should follow CASAS test security policy and guidelines, and following these guidelines assures favorable conditions when administering CASAS web-based tests. Now, the proctor online self-paced certification module also serves an important role to ensure that testing occurs fairly and uniformly. Certified proctors administer CASAS web-based tests. The online training module outlines responsibilities of a proctor, duties on testing days, and the importance of proctors following these same procedures before, during, and after testing sessions. Following these procedures assures the validity of test results and reduces the likelihood of confusion or error during test administration. On our website, and I'll point this out in just a moment, but we also have an administrative planning guide that is available for you. It's an exercise that gives you an opportunity to engage in discussion at your agency to determine which programs you would like to use for administering CASAS web-based assessments, identify the test series that you plan to use for those programs, as well as the modalities such as reading and math for ABE or reading and listening for ESL. Then there are several options and settings and features that you can enhance or customize delivery of those assessments via CASAS e-Test Online. So the Administrative Planning Guide essentially is your roadmap to setting up or configuring testing sessions online. We also offer a simulation server. The simulation server has a fictional database. The simulation server functions identically to the online application, which we refer to commonly as the production server. The production server meaning that is the server where live data is recorded. So the production server and the simulation server function identically. It is the same identical application. However, the simulation server has a fictional database that we encourage you to access, to experiment and explore without any risk of compromising the integrity of your own data on the production server. Now, preparing your inventory is simply ordering online test administrations, and we refer to those as web test units, or WTUs. So folks, you do not need to be concerned about specifying the test series you plan to use when you order. whether they're for pre-testing or for post-testing or for which modality. Web test units think of them as virtual answer sheets. And the answer sheets are generic. They can be used for any test series, any test form, any test modality. So simply come up with a number of online test administrations that you feel comfortable in starting off with and place your order accordingly. We offer online ordering for your convenience. Anyone connected to today's workshop, if you have been or whether you are a current or past user of the CASAS eTest desktop application, you can exchange your CTUs for WTUs. It's not a complete even exchange. You will receive credit towards the purchase of online test administrations. If you fall in that category, let us know, connect with us, and we'll work with you on either placing your order or converting your CTUs to WTUs. Now, folks, let's move on into resources. But before I do, let me ask, and I'm going to actually transition back to my computer screen for just a moment here, to emphasize that much of the information that I shared with you can be found in the eTests help documentation section of our website. So for those of you who are in the getting started phase, you will want to be sure and visit the getting started topic in CASAS eTest help documentation. There are quite a lot of documents here listed, as well as additional links. There is a link to how to implement CASAS eTest online. This is an overview. That takes you to another area on our website that lists pricing and ordering, features and reports, system compatibility, facility verification, staff preparedness, as well as offering a going live checklist. Much of this information I've touched on, but I would encourage you to visit these areas for more detailed information. Okay. Such as system compatibility and so forth. This going live checklist, there's one displayed online here, as well as you can retrieve a copy to fill in at your convenience as you progress through the getting started steps. This is a recommendation. For example, you are not required to use the simulation server ahead of time before you move through the rest of the steps. These steps can be coordinated simultaneously, so they are not sequential prerequisites. You may want to go ahead and requisition an order, get that underway while you are completing some of these other steps. Okay. And then going to the guide, I would encourage you to review the implementation section, which I discussed in the presentation, as well as the getting started section here. Now I'm going to touch on the test administration inventory for just a moment here. Let me increase this screen display. What's displayed on page 11, as well as page 12, and 13, these are all the types of assessments and forms that are available in CASAS eTest Online. Now, some series does require additional training for implementation, such as the Workforce Skills Certification System, which also includes problem solving and critical thinking assessments. We also have a written prompt that we currently offer an online self-paced training module for certification to administer the written prompt. However, so this does require additional training, specifically certification, to implement the written prompt. So for those of you who are new to CASAS, this will help you to see the test series as well as all of the form numbers that are included in each series that is selected for online web-based delivery. For a listing, let's see, I'll go back here to the website here. Under Training and Support, WIA and NRS compliance, NRS approval of CASAS. This table here lists the test series that are NRS approved. So depending on your funding or your accountability requirements, you will want to be sure that you are using a series that is approved in your state. So please reference your state's assessment policy. Okay, so we have the life and work is valid through 2016. These additional assessments over here valid through February of 2017. Okay. Are there any questions, folks? Please feel free to enter any questions in the chat box. Okay, let me go through, touch on some of the resources and reports that are available immediately after testing is completed. What is displaying here is an individual student competency performance report showing test details of an individual student on a given test form. So you see here the student is identified by their ID and their name over here, the date of assessment, the raw and scaled score. Here is the assessment form. It also identifies the form level. The student is currently enrolled in this class at this site and then for this agency. This report displays the competency number and statement for each test item and indicating whether the student correctly answered the item or not. This report is sorted by order of test items as indicated by the position. And this is an electronic version of student performance worksheets that are provided in test administration manuals. These are great reports to give to individual students to help them identify firsthand the areas in which they need instruction, as a way also to prepare them for post-testing. This next report, this is a very, very popular report. It's one of my favorites. And this is a slide shows an example of an individual skills profile report for a student enrolled in a GED program. And for those of you offering high school equivalency programs, you know that HSE now is the acronym used, and GED is only one of the NRS approved high school equivalency exams. So some of you may be familiar with HiSET and TASC. Those are the other two, and then include GED, and those are the three approved high school equivalency exams. This sample displays competencies assessed in reading and math and includes a GED predictor for the likelihood of passing the different GED subsections. And as I mentioned, this is a very popular report, and especially among ABE and HSE programs, as well as workforce readiness programs. This student happened to be assessed in math and reading. The form number is identified, plus the date, scale score, corresponding NRS educational functioning level, the form level, Number of items total that were presented on the form, how many the student answered correctly and how many they attempted. Grade level equivalency is optional to include on these reports. It's not set by default, but know that that is available to also include on these reports. The competencies are coded to content standards, and the N is the number of times that competencies within this category were presented to the student. So this is a great report to pick up in a general sense areas of to identify the areas of strengths and need for this student. You also have task areas in which test items were presented to the student. So here again, this is another great area to pick up on whether if a student, say you might believe that the student knows the information, but in the way the information is presented to the student may have difficulty with, say, deciphering charts or graphs. And so the task areas, all test items are identified with task areas so that you can develop lessons to target those needs. Now this report also is an individual skills profile report. However, this is an example of a student enrolled in an ESL program. Notice the listening and the listening and reading assessments. Here again, all of the reading competencies are coded to content standards. For both reading and listening, you have reading tasks here, as well as you have the listening tasks. These reports are great also for school counselors, as well as student portfolios or student files. You could give these to students. That would be based on your decision. When I worked in the field, we gave the students the individual skills, or excuse me, the individual student competency performance reports. Now this here is the electronic version of class profile worksheets provided in test administration manuals. This report, I would say, is not so much used anymore. It was used extensively for paper-based testing because this was the only means of producing this type of report. Any of you who have been with us for a while, or quite a while in the past, may be familiar with our legacy application, Visual Tops Pro, which we no longer support. The application is still available, and you may very well be an individual at an agency that still uses Visual Tops Pro. If you are, we will need to work with you to migrate your Visual Tops Pro locally installed database and migrate that to the Tops Pro Enterprise online system. Okay. But this report simply identifies students by class. All students in this particular class took the same assessment form, listing the students, their raw and scaled scores, and these pluses and minuses simply indicate the student answered correctly or incorrectly to the test items. These are the test items 1 through 5, 5 through 10, 10 through 15, and then going vertically here, these are the competency numbers. Okay, so that's that type of report. However, this slide shows a class performance report sorted by percentage correct, and this report is a popular alternative to the class profile report displayed on the previous slide. So teachers can readily identify areas of greatest need to develop lessons that address those needs and prepare students for post or progress testing. So notice on this particular report, now the position of the test items is not numerically or sequential there. This report is sorted based on percentage correct. Notice this 27, and then the percentage increases as you go down the different test items. And this is intentional so that instructors most likely will target competencies least met by that group of students, because that shows the areas of greatest need in preparing the students for poster progress testing. The competency number still displays for every test item, as well as the task area that you notice here. Some test items are built on one primary competency statement or competency description. However, if you happen to see a boldface plus non-boldface descriptions for one test item, this means that these are additional competency descriptions that give additional information or details about the test item. So that will definitely help in developing lesson plans to target those competencies. This is a great report here. This report shows every student who has taken a test and displays the test history for each student, including the CASAS test form, the test date, the scaled score, and if you are recording hours of instruction, that would also be included in this column. This report also shows scores. For example, if there is a diamond after the score, this is considered a conservative estimate score. These scores are valid, and however, retesting is recommended on those scores. And if you have a score that has an asterisk after it, that is an inaccurate score. Now, there are none displayed on this sample here, but just to let you know that the online system, even at the time of testing or as soon as the student ends a test and is presented with a summary of their results, you will know right then and there at the close of that test administration whether the results reflect a score that is below accurate range, and if that's the case, retesting is required. That's an indicator that the assessment the student took was was an incorrect level. So the system will automatically adjust, and you can literally retest the student in the same day, and the system will automatically present the next test that is more appropriate for that student's level. The same holds true for conservative estimate scores. The system here again is fully automated, so based on those conservative estimate scores, the system will automatically present the next level higher the next time the student tests. CASAS, you can also use TOPS Pro Enterprise Online to record instructional hours, and you have the option of granting access to teachers to enter daily attendance. This report lists students with their last test, CASAS test form, scaled score, and test date. And based on the previous test results, this report displays by modality the next assigned test, the form, and level for the specified date range. This report replaces our formerly known suggested next test charts. So this report is called a next assigned test report, or the acronym is NAT. So this shows the automation of the online system. The test series, the way you read this is the student, for example, and I'll just use this Robin as an example here in the math modality. This actually form here, this particular form is an appraisal, and because of the scaled score that student of the student's results on that appraisal, the system determined that student's pretest should be at the level B, and depending on what test series you are using, this will identify the specific form in that series. So if you are using the employability competency system, then the student would be presented with a 13M. If you are using the Life and Work series, the student would be presented with a 33. And Workforce Learning System series, the student would be presented with a Form 213. Okay. Now, folks, you do have the option at any time to override the next assigned test. So we recommend that as you are preparing for post-testing to simply generate a next assigned test report so that you will see and have the assurance of what form that student will be presented with when they go for post-testing, as well as confirmation of that student's existing ID number or ID as it exists in the online system. And when we assist you in configuring your testing sessions, we recommend having separate sessions for pre-testing and post-testing. And specifically, the post-testing session locks creation of new student records for your safeguard against duplicate student records and mismatched test history. This is a learning gains comparison report. It is designed to show by class the average gains or setbacks achieved between the scale scores of the first and last tests taken, not necessarily the highest, within a defined period. The data integrity detail report with drill down functionality, as indicated here by this highlighted cell. This allows you to monitor your data collection efforts and the integrity, monitor as well the integrity of your data specifically. So for accountability purposes, these are the types of data elements that need to be present for full accountability. There is another report, data integrity, I believe I don't have it here, but in one of our workshop sessions we will be touching on the data integrity, which gives more of a summary. But this is the detail so that you identify the specific student and what data elements are missing for that particular student. And by drilling down, by clicking on this cell, this will drill down directly to this particular student so that you can look for the post-test, or say, for example, here, hours, the student is missing hours, or there's no labor force status recorded, and so forth. The idea of drill down functionality is for the opportunity to make corrections on the spot. The online system will meet local and statewide, or excuse me, the reports that are available to you are listed here for state and federal reporting, both locally and statewide. You have your monitoring reports such as the data integrity or learning gains report. The online system has federal tables to also monitor the integrity of your data. We mentioned exchanging data with your third-party systems, auditable instructional hours, and then state-level customization is available. So certain states that we have contracts with, if they have something specific that is beneficial to all users within that state, CASAS most likely meets those requests and will build that feature into the online system. Now, resources for state decision makers, that there are reportable, that all assessment results are reportable to NRS. There are approved, CASAS is approved. These are the pre and post assessment forms. You can also record if you are an agency that uses BEST, GAIN, TABE, or work keys. You can also record those results in TOPS Pro Enterprise Online, as well as having present the CASAS pre and post test results, so that all of those assessment types are equally reflected in NRS Fed table reports. You can enter these into TOPS Pro Enterprise and as I mentioned, included in the federal reports. The high school equivalency assessments. This is the California High School Equivalency Exam, and I mentioned earlier GED, HiSET, and TASC are the three NRS-approved high school equivalency exams. And forgive me, but I'm drawing a blank on MAP. it measures academic progress, and it's computer adaptive in reading and math. And I don't recall the publisher who offers that, but some of you may be familiar with that. Here is contact information, folks, and you will want to be sure and enter or add tech support at CASAS.org in your contact list. And that is the go-to email when it comes to CASAS technology. There is a large support team that is part of this email distribution, so we all get copied at the same time when you send messages to that email address. And this is what we encourage you to do rather than sending emails to us directly. I'm not saying you can't send emails directly to us, but for your assurance of a timely response, we recommend sending inquiries directly to techsupport@casas.org. Now, folks, again, this presentation is available on our website, a copy of that, and I mentioned earlier that that can be found under Training and Support, e-test help documentation, getting started, and right here, CASAS Online System Overview. There is another presentation available here, doing more with less using CASAS Online. You may want to also take a look at that. So folks, we are about out of time. We have about 10 minutes remaining to address any questions that you may have. I would encourage you to join us, take a short 30-minute break, and join us back for the practice tests session. That will introduce you to CASAS eTest Online and the user interface and what your students can expect while taking a CASAS web-based assessment. And that's a quick 30-minute session there. Any questions, folks, that I may help bring clarification? Okay. You will notice, folks, in your meeting control panel that there are two links to the eTest help documentation as well as TOPS Pro Enterprise help documentation. So when you have time and as you attend these workshops, I will always let you know where to find the information that I am sharing during the workshop. So you always have that reference point to return to or have available to make notes and so forth. Okay. All right, folks, any questions? Now, do we have any of you from Tennessee today? Debbie, hi. Great, welcome. We're excited to work with Tennessee's implementation. We know it's quite extensive, and we look forward to working with you for a successful implementation of our online system. Donna, great. Welcome, Donna. Thank you for joining us. All right, folks, if you have no further questions, then I would invite you to return for the practice test session beginning at 12 o'clock Pacific time. Okay, thank you so much for your participation, and we look forward to supporting you for successful implementation of CASAS Online. Take care, and we'll see you in just a short bit.